Hi, and welcome to another edition of Bingerton. Bingerton by the episode is what we're calling tonight. Talking about episode 201 of Bridgerton, capital R Rake. Thank you for joining us. Hey guys, Alicia, Shelley, Beth, Rush, Emma, Raw. Hello. B, hello. I'm very excited that everybody's here. We're going to be asking you guys lots of questions. Andy, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And I'm going to say hi to TikTok really quickly. If you're seeing this on TikTok, we are on this platform. See it? You know what that is, right? Go look for it there. Hi, but go there. You know what I'm saying? Do that. Thanks.
Hey,
Okay.
Sheila.
Hey, Sheila. Everybody's here. Yay. Hello, Emily. I'm so glad to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad to be live. Andy, it's time to talk about episode 1. I really honestly think that I'm going to be able to talk about this particular episode for an eternity. What do you think?
Honestly, I loved this episode and I thought it was so good. I watched it again today, like 1.5 times. I watched it and I was like, ooh, I just want to watch it again right away,
Yeah.
which is just insane behavior, but I do not care.
Yeah, it was super, super good. Again, TikTok, hi, go join us on this platform. Go, go, go. I'm going to not stay live here because I can't, because I forgot to bring my tripod and I'm holding it. And that is awful. So bye. Join us there. Okay, I'm ending. That was terrible. I'm terrible at TikTok live. One day I'll figure it out.
Listen,
But hi, everybody.
we are geriatric millennials, and I'm not sure we're supposed to be good at TikTok.
We're definitely geriatric millennials. Hey, Tara, y'all tell us how you feel about the episode in general in the chat, because I would love to hear what everybody's feelings are about, like, just as an opener. I thought it was really interesting the way they kind of set up the season. I have different things that I want to talk about. I actually planned it out. So I wasn't just, flying by the seat of my pants. And I thought one of the interesting things that they do is they center this entire episode around the diamond, the queen declaring this diamond. She talks about it at the beginning, and then it's like one of the last things she does at the end of the episode. And last season, the queen does not declare a diamond.
I was going to say
Whistledown
that.
does.
That is
Yeah.
correct. And also, I just when they talk about a girl being like a diamond of the first water, meaning like the best of the best, the ultimate, I'm fairly certain that the ton as a whole should be deciding that. Like the gentleman should be choosing. Like this was the only problem I had with this episode. I was like, I don't understand why the queen needs to declare a diamond when when she talked about Daphne in season 1. She looks at Daphne and says, flawless. Like, okay, yes, I get how then you would make that connection.
Yes.
But
It's
I don't know.
Whistledown is the one who calls her a diamond. It's like a whole big thing in the first episode of season 1. And so you're right. It is something that the ton kind of bestows upon someone who does all of the things that require a diamond to do, like enchant all of the men or whatever.
Right.
It's weird.
I agree.
It's weird because Whistledown is telling the queen, when are you going to do it? And it's just like, that's not even how it was in your own world last season.
Yes, that's what I mean. I was like, at least if they would stay consistent to the world. I mean, I suppose we'll just have to suspend our disbelief on this one.
Yeah, they needed to make something, the framework of what was going on. Alicia said, I didn't understand why the queen declared the diamond either, except that Whistledown told her to. It does sound like she kind of challenges her to do it. She's like, your move. So maybe it's kind of like that. But it seems like everyone is expecting the queen to do that, Eloise and all of that. And it just seemed like a weird way to do it. The queen is probably trying to regain control because of her rivalry. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It just seems like a weird way to do it. I feel like it just wasn't well circled in terms of like why the queen was the one doing all of that and saying it that way. I mean, like all of Whistledown's even like puns were like cut, clarity, color, let it, like it was all very diamond punny. And then the queen throws this ball where they're all diamonds. And I was like, this is not right.
You know what else what else made me laugh? Like the fact that anyone considered for even one hot second that Eloise could possibly be the diamond. I was like, guys, she hates this. Like she's standing there in the dress, like fanning her armpits, like, oh, I can't do it. And it's like Violet's like, you could be the diamond, and even what's her name said it. The Hyacinth was like,
Mhm.
I think you'd be a wonderful diamond, and I was like, no, she wouldn't. Like we all know that the fact that you're even pretending that anyone is even possibly considering this, you knew.
I think it's funny because I think it's because the Bridgertons are so popular, and it
Yeah.
happened for Daphne, and everybody else seems to have, like, weird peccadillos that they can't get over, but this is her first season, and maybe it's just because, like, your sister did it, you should be able to do it too. But yeah, I agree, she's a hot mess. Like, she's not into that. I also love how the episode opens up with the Lady Whistledown mystery. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
So the last little glimpse that we get of Lady Whistledown is Penelope being kind of, smug about what she's doing. And then this episode, this season and this episode ends with opens up with the queen talking about where she's been and whether she'll return, setting up the queen as her antagonist, and then with Lady Whistledown interrupting Eloise's ceremony. And it looked like Penelope's doing that on purpose. Like the timing is so specific. Do you think
Mhm.
she did it on purpose
I
to
mean,
happen while
she
they were
can't.
all at court?
Yeah, it's possible. It definitely seemed that way. Like the way they had her like looking out the window constantly and being like, "When's it gonna come? When's it gonna come?" Hopefully, it's like at the right time.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. But I do love how it bookends with "Did you miss me?" Like, she looks so cute in the window. She's, watching it, get distributed, and she's getting all excited. I think it shows Penelope's state of mind, as Lady Whistledown. It just adds something to her character immediately. Because when we saw her at the end of season 1, she does seem a little, snide, and that doesn't quite fit. But now it's, the excitement of a young girl who has this secret and gets to watch it, kind of go out into the world, and I loved it. I love the opening.
I also love how they showed her going to the printer, and when she like breaks into her own accent, oh, I had such an Irish accent. I'm really sorry. I am not Irish, despite all this redness up here. Um, yeah, it was so good. I was
It
like,
was perfect.
yes.
And I didn't expect that,
Me neither.
because I guess in the book, she just, goes to a church and sits down at a pew and, leaves it, and then somebody comes and gets it, and that seemed more appropriate, for her footman to just take her to church, but for her to have this whole, network of spies,
Yes.
but then be the person that gets dressed and dons it and then goes and does it is, totally unexpected and so great,
Yeah.
and, yeah, hearing her accent and, watching her be in charge of every moment, the math and negotiating and making sure that the boys get their raises and stuff, it was such a boss girl moment without being, annoying. I loved it.
It was so lady boss, and I was definitely here for it. Like,
Yeah.
I think they can try to like lady boss Eloise, but to me, like Penelope is just making it happen for herself. Like, oh, so good. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and I honestly, tried to figure out her turnaround time. Um, like, how in the world does she go from a ball, against the wall, taking notes in her little dance card, which I thought was such a cute, addition. She's, barely penciling in something she heard from a footman, to writing it, to getting it the footman to getting it to the printer so that it can be there for the next day.
The next day, I was like, this is an impossibility. But again,
Like, as a person who publishes information on the internet, I can't even do that overnight with a computer. So, I don't know how she is making that happen. Um,
some of these comments are really funny.
did you hear the accent slip back out during the scene with the new Lord Featherington? I didn't. Does
I
she
didn't either.
in this
Is
episode, or is it later on?
I don't know. I don't. Some
Um,
other people heard it,
oh,
but
I didn't hear it. Um, do Penn and Eloise shop at the same place for their undercover cloaks?
yes.
And Meredith says it's in her fight with Eloise as well. So in the last episode, maybe she
Well,
sounds a little Irish.
I'm gonna make a little note. I'm gonna put it in my phone and listen for it when I
Yeah.
get back to that episode.
I think she does a pretty good job of staying out of it, um, more so than other people that are not in the show who can't stay out of their regular accents, but, you know.
I did what? I don't know. I don't know what you mean at all.
Yeah. It's in this episode when she says, "He's here to save us." I'll have to go listen
Oh,
to it again. I didn't
okay.
notice.
I didn't
Um,
notice either.
Brett asks, "Does Whistledown publish every day? I thought they mentioned she published 3 times a week." Yes, I remember them saying, like, 3 times a week as well, but it seems like she always has an edition coming out, like, right after a major
A
event,
major event. That's what I thought.
and this one is the one where she rushes to get it out, and she's like, by midnight or whatever, right?
Or is it the next one?
I can't remember.
Isn't the next one where she's like, "Oh, it's going to be a rush." So she says, and it's supposed to be 800 copies at 11 pounds and blah,
Right,
blah, 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 blah. Me
right.
mistress says like 10 pounds. So aren't you making out? And
Yeah.
it's like, nice. Get that
Alright.
math. Get that math, girl.
She definitely gets the math down, and I was so sure after this first episode, and I really think that this might just be, like, an editing thing, 100% sure that Penelope was gonna have to save the Featheringtons with her money at some point this
Me too.
season.
1,000%. I could not believe that didn't happen.
I know.
But then I don't understand how. I mean, I'm not adapting. Didn't she in the books, doesn't she save her family with money?
Yes, I think so. But her book.
Yeah.
So it's the same book that the
Oh.
same point where she, um, gets rid of her persona, where she quits.
Oh, okay, in her book. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, super interesting. I thought that maybe they just couldn't figure out a way to do it, or they just know that that's going to be a plot line going forward. So they had Mama F get them out of that with her MLM.
Yeah, it really seems like they purposefully showed her with her money under the plank in her floorboards, like, as the Featheringtons were talking about money, that they really juxtaposed those 2 things, and, like, her face seemed like it just seemed like that's where it was going, so I was really surprised, and if they're waiting and foreshadowing it for a later season, it just seemed like a lot for this one, so I was just surprised. But I did think that this particular episode specifically really set up her and Eloise and what's gonna happen to them at the end of the season super well,
Yes,
because Eloise is not just cock blocking her from being able to get to the footmen, she's literally, like, cock blocking her writing as well. Like, she's basically just being like, "This isn't good enough. I'm not interested in this anymore." I think part of the reason Penn does it is to impress Eloise to some degree.
I think so.
Yeah, and
And they
she
have
just
that super good friend moment, as B said, that sweet moment about how they were in the meadow, the Twilight Meadow scene.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about, how they are reenacting the Twilight Meadow scene at the Queen's Ball? They were very much like, "Let Me Sign" was about to play in the background for sure. Did you notice that, while they're sitting there talking, a a bug lands on Penelope's shoulder for a
No!
minute?
Yeah!
Yes,
I gotta go
yes.
watch I gotta
I
go
think
watch
it
it.
it looks like a lightning bug maybe, but it made me laugh so hard because it doesn't seem purposeful, but, like, was still within the theme of the show.
Bees and bugs.
Yeah, it cracked me up. But I mean, I really think that they're foreshadowing everything, like, how unimpressed she becomes with Lady Whistledown and, like, how Penn keeps trying to, like, impress upon the genius of it, and then she changes the way that she's writing just for Eloise,
Mhm.
and she shows the planks where Eloise is gonna later on find her money, like, it's just all right there in one episode. I thought it was really great.
It's excellent.
Yep, perfectly set up. So let's talk about the Bridgertons. And we're
Okay.
just gonna go in ABC order
Perfect.
because that's the way it works in this show, and I'm getting drunk, and if I go out of order, I'll forget. Um, we're gonna save Anthony, but we'll start with Benedict.
Um,
Go
okay,
ahead.
so Benedict. All right, so Benedict, a lot more attractive to me in this season. Um, you know, I I was reading something that they were saying that they thought that, they completely dropped the suit like his queer stuff from the first
Mhm.
season, which I was a little annoyed about
I'm really sad about it.
because it to me that sort of sets up that they're not going to do that with him at all. Like at first in season 1 we're like, "Oh, maybe." And then now I feel like by dropping it entirely this season, they're sort of just setting up like, yeah, this isn't a thing. I mean,
Hoping we forget about
yes,
it.
I know you guys yeah, I know you guys like still said that you saw hints of it and stuff, but I have to say like on second watch, other than the fact that he's particularly genial this episode, like he's a bit more of a jokester, which I usually associate with that sort of like insouciance with like Colin. And I thought that really Benedict really had that vibe,
Yeah.
especially like in this episode. He's like teasing Eloise a lot, and I was like, wait, isn't that supposed to be Colin?
Mhm.
Um, but I like him better, but also I'm sad that they dropped that other stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing because I do think he's still being coded as queer. I still think he and Eloise both are I saw a TikTok where it called them like the neurodivergent middle children. They're definitely
Yeah.
like the lesbian and the queer one because like that's just how they are. And I think it's fully true. I think it still shows up in this season and I think in this episode it shows up in that um he's bitchy. Like he's not just quipping. He's not just going "Mrr." Like those are like all of his comments other than his like talking to Madame Delacroix about like hooking up with her are queer coded. They just are. Like even telling Hyacinth that Eloise can hear her while she's trying to dance. He doesn't sound just like you were saying, like an insouciant older brother. He sounds like a little bit of a bitchy queen. I mean, and just, you know?
A little. I could see it. I mean, to me, it was a little more brotherly, but I don't know. That it's definitely from a role switch. There's definitely a shift happening for
Yeah.
his character.
Yeah. And Alicia just said, I adore show Benedict, and I'm the one who gave book Benedict the name Benedict. Yes, she is. I love him. But if they're going to queer bait us, they need to follow through. I think that Andy, you're right in that they are trying to make us forget that in season 1 he looks very canonically bi-curious. That was something that could easily be, you know, inferred from where his character was going, and they gave us another female love interest. They gave us more of a straight Benedict because they don't want to go there. And I think the reason they can't is because the world itself is already like established homophobia.
It would be hard. Like you would really have to make it like a secret. You know what I mean? Like it's this big secret, and they have it's like he gets married, and there she is, but also roommate.
Mhm.
Which,
I
unless
mean,
it was a legit throuple.
they could easily do throuple, I think. I don't see any reason why they couldn't do throuple. Really, truly do it. Um, and I would
It
be
would
so
be
happy.
bold. I have to say, it would be bold. I would like it. Because, I mean, has that been even in Shonda's show, has that been a thing yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't watch all of Shonda's shows. I haven't seen a throuple. I mean, there's certainly been plenty of gay characters.
Yeah.
Um, Raja said it is college. So, there he could be experimenting. Alicia, I'm here for a well done thruple. I mean, again, read Samantha Cain's Brothers in Arms series. It's just book after book after book of aristocratic lords marrying ladies together in thruples, two dudes and a girl, and they all are friends and they all just live their lives and they're beautiful thruples. It's wonderful. And it can be done. Like one of them marries her for the title and they all live together and it's fine. Do it. Give Benedict a thruple. I'm for it. Um, I think he's so much of this is cute. for him, even from the beginning, is like, of course, it's just like that moo is adorable. He's perfect. I have no issues with him. I did want to say, okay, we begin with the Bridgertons in this episode, like the same way we began the first episode of season 1. Like it's just
Mm.
perfectly, they're waiting on the daughter to come out for the queen's appearance at court, which was super cute. But this time it's Anthony who's like itching to be on time, and he's the one who's like eager to be at market. And I thought that was a cute little bookend, or little doubling of last season. Colin is missing, so we've done Benedict. We talked about Colin is not in this episode. Daphne is introduced almost exactly as she is in season 1, like with a coming forward in her carriage face. It was like really iconic because it was in the trailer and in the teaser of season 1 that you just like saw her face, like look out from the carriage. And they do the same thing with her in this episode, even though she's solidly in this supporting actress category this season. Where she belongs. Where she belongs. But that lean forward is fairly iconic.
She was actually quite funny in this episode. You know, like her interactions with Eloise, but they definitely made me chuckle.
Yeah.
She was like, "Show me your smile," and she was like, "No." I liked it.
Yeah. And I'd like her even just like telling Anthony, like, I'm not envious of you this season at all. But
Yeah,
it didn't occur to me until just now that that's the only scene she's in this episode. So it's like she comes down for the queen's court appearance, and then she rushes right back to Simon, I guess.
yeah. Ha- has to do that baby watching.
Yeah. Do they say, I know we're only talking about season 1 or episode 1, but do they say anything about why Simon doesn't come down to Aubrey Hall?
No, I think they just said he was busy, right? Did they even say it? I don't even think they said it.
I
They
don't
just
think they
ignored
say
it.
anything. Yeah. Which she says it in this one, like, "I left my husband and child for this." But, yeah, I don't think they say it later, and it would make a lot more sense for him to be at Aubrey Hall.
Wait, am I on Crazy Planet? They announced that they signed the two of them for next season, right? Anthony.
Oh,
We
yeah.
knew Jonathan Bailey wasn't going anywhere, but Simone Ashley is
Yes.
in for next season. I saw
Yes.
that today and I was like, "Whew." Listen, there was absolutely no way that anyone who signs on to Bridgerton from here on out did not have a ironclad contract. That was a kick in the pants moment. If I was like, how do you not sign him to just like an option to appear in one episode? Oh,
I
criminal.
know.
I didn't miss him. Well,
No.
let's be real. I did miss, he's very hot. Like, I missed that. But like, I didn't miss him in terms of like the story. He didn't need to be there. But
Mhm.
just seeing him once with that baby. Oh.
Yeah, it would've been nice to see the whole family together.
Mhm.
Katie Merkel just said, "Hi, Katie. I saw that she signed up for season 3 and 4." So, yeah, there's no way, especially Kate's character, like, Edwina could never come back. Mary could never come back, and it won't matter. But Kate becomes the Viscountess. She's gonna have to, like, usher, like he says, she's gonna have to usher my sisters in to their seasons. Like she has to be there. Like Antony has
Sure.
to be. She becomes a Bridgerton. So Bridgertons cannot really leave the fold. I do think it's going to strain credulity for Simon to never be in another season.
Yeah,
Um, that is real weird because it would have been. I mean, I think the writers could have done something really interesting with him just being around. You know, Benedict gets good lines. Hyacinth gets good lines. There's no reason why Simon also couldn't be there helping Antony through the season. Like, I think maybe he would have had a little bit of Benedict's role had he been there.
definitely. Just a couple of zingers here and there
Yeah,
would have been good. Oh, that's my cat. I'm
that's
sorry,
okay.
guys. If you hear things in the background, it's my two cats and they don't like each other, but also they love causing trouble.
If you hear anything in the background here, it's me swallowing. Alicia said, yes, they addressed this after Regé left last season. They came out and said they had to sign them on for seasons 2 through 4. Which is interesting because it's just seasons 2 through 4, which I think if they were really forward thinking, they would know that they're gonna be doing at least 6 seasons, at least, but maybe they're only doing 4.
I need much more of this.
I know. Heidi said that a couple of Bingertons ago when we were doing the preseason Bingerton. She was like, the show is so popular they're going to do all 8 seasons. And I don't disagree. And yet, we can go ahead. I'm going to skip Eloise for a minute and let's talk about Francesca. This bitch has no lines. She is set dressing.
Yeah. She had like a line in the carriage and like a line at the house.
And
It's
a maid could
unfair.
have said them. Hyacinth
Yeah.
has more to do. Hyacinth has a better personality than Francesca.
It's really disappointing too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yeah, Francesca is the background music piano player.
Yeah.
Ah! Yeah.
100%. It's very frustrating. I mean,
It is
I
a
don't
shame.
think that they're I don't think it's that Ruby Stokes isn't going to get to be Francesca. My fear is that they aren't going to do Francesca's book.
No. I mean,
I
anyone who's
know.
read them knows that's the book.
I
That's
know.
the book. You
I
guys.
know.
No, that's the book. If they could make this, and I like this book is my second favorite. So
Yeah, mine too.
yeah. So I suppose they made this one really. They turned it into a smoke show of a season. Like it was hot. But if they can make this season that smoky, like that book 6, if they cast the right Michael, like I already cannot breathe. Like
I know. I know. Like, he has to be Scottish.
hmm
Excuse me? He's Scottish? Like, it's just good. It's so good.
Yeah, but you could conceivably have good Francesca sex with 2 characters in that because I want to see her. I want to see her magic with the first husband before I see even more magic with the second. Yo,
Imagine her first husband, like, her learning things and then her getting to, like, teach Michael things because also, like, Michael becomes, like he talks about how, like, he's, like, the ultimate seducer. Like, what do they call him? I can't even remember.
when he was wicked, she says to him all the
The
time,
wicked is he
"Tell
the
me,
wicked
tell me
earl?
something wicked." She says,
Like, she has so much experience, so that gives, like, a whole other, like, layer to whether or not she is like,
"Oh, the
how their
merry
season
rake."
could go. The Mary Rake, that's right. Thank you, Kendra. Um, so, like, just everything about Francesca's book is so good. How could you not wanna, like, throw it I don't know.
No,
The
it
only
needs.
thing that's weird about Francesca's book is that she's solitary. She's up in Scotland by herself without the Bridgertons. There's, like, less and less Bridgerton in that book, but
Yes,
they can adapt it, obviously.
adapt. Put it in there. Put it as her not wanting to like she could be just outside of London in Somerset or like Surrey or something and like right outside London like, "Oh, I don't want to go for the season, blah blah blah." She does have that little mini season. That scene in the shed. Oh my god.
Her book is so good, guys. If you haven't read it, go. It's the sixth one. Skip Eloise's and just go straight
Skip
to
them
Francesca.
all. Skip them all. That
But
one is
I'm really worried because she is so absent in the way that they're writing her right now that they don't know what they're going to do, which is fine for them not to know what they're going to do with Francesca. But I also am worried that they're not going to bother at all. Like it
if
almost seems like they're preparing us for Hyacinth season instead. And that makes me really sad.
if the actress, do you think, right? Because they're prepping season 3, right? Prepping it.
Yeah. I do want to correct. I said 2 nights ago that they've already started filming, and that's not true. They will start filming in the summer.
Okay, so my thing is possibly the actress was only in 3 episodes because COVID delays and they
She
started
had a
filming.
job.
She had another job.
Mhm.
Do you see recast if they can't get her? I mean, because I would think that now they really do need to start integrating her in with the rest of the Bridgertons.
Well, I will say this directly to Ruby Stokes if you're watching. What other job could there possibly be? This already set records. It's been out for less than a week. It has set records for downloads and streams. Why would you take another job over it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't be my choice, but
I cannot imagine that there's unless she's doing a Marvel superhero, there's not anything else that could be better for her career.
That's
Like,
true.
and I get that she took another job because right now Francesca has no lines and has no purpose. But if they were saying, "Hey, season 5, you're on deck," I would sign on for 5, 6, 7, and 8. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why you wouldn't. That doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
she's a lead, but she's gonna be a lead in this. She's gonna have a killer unless she thinks this Lockwood and Company is gonna have her hit real big, and then she doesn't have to wait. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see any other show, especially if it's UK based, which that is. Um, her character's called Lucy Carlisle. That's I mean, like, I'm super glad that she has a job, but,
Mhm.
again, she could have been cast as, you know, Malva Christie in Outlander. That's not gonna get her the same kind of notoriety as being Francesca at Bridgerton as Bridgerton would. Like, you just couldn't get I just don't think that there's a better job right now. I don't know. Dot just said she thinks that they need to recast for the role. I don't. I mean, unless she's just bad. And if she got cast in this, she's gotten cast in this lead and they've filmed that, like, I don't see how they would need to recast her unless she was too young and she's not.
Yeah.
Um, Raw, you're correct that sometimes they contract 2 to 3 years out. That's obviously true, and I'm sure whatever she, contracted with this other show, it might just be a conflict of interest, but I don't care if they recast it. I just want Francesca's season, and I would prefer it to be the same actress just for continuity's sake.
It is a
Um,
young adult supernatural thriller series. So it is a
okay,
series based on books.
that
And
I
this
haven't heard of. Amazing.
Yeah, and it's a psychic detective agency as they fight ghosts in London, England. Interesting.
Well, look here, Ruby Stokes. I just want to tell you, if that contract conflicts with Bridgerton, get your agent and your lawyer to do whatever they can to get you
Back.
into your season because it will be the hottest and the best, is all I'm saying. Just rework it, kid. You need to do. Van Dusen said they wanted to beef up her role in season 2, but she had the other job. Yeah. I did read that, and hopefully she has a better agent than Ray J. Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking.
Sorry.
I don't know what he was thinking. But, I will be very upset if they think that her book doesn't deserve an adaptation.
No, it's the best. The
Mhm.
absolute best. She's actually 21 years old. Boy, she looks very young.
She does, but that's
She's
because we're old and 21-year-olds look like 12-year-olds.
oh god, I'm 41. Okay,
Because
thanks.
Claudia Jessie let's talk about Eloise now. Claudia Jessie, who plays Eloise, is, like, 35, and
What?
I buy her completely as a 17-year-old.
Same. Wow. I thought I looked good, but girlfriend has been taking some. Where is her portrait of Dorian Gray?
Yes, exactly. Like,
What?
what serums, Claudia Jessie? Which serums? Somebody look up and make sure that I'm correct about her age, but I'm pretty sure she's, like, 35.
Can we talk about I know we're talking about the Bridgertons and I'm sorry to get us off track, but
I will murder you later.
don't murder me.
Okay.
Me?
Yeah.
um Lady Danbury cracked me up this episode. Like, I think she's really leaned into that very affected way that she's speaking. Like the way that she's chewing on the consonant.
Ooh,
Just I
yes.
just love it so much. She's slayed it.
Yeah. I mean, she did that too in that scene where she's talking to baby Simon and she's like, I made myself frightening. She just really gets into like how her jaw's moving to give her every little consonant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Wait. Let's just come back to it. That whole scene between her and Kate is the best.
Oh, she's so,
It's
so
so
good.
good. The two of them together is like, I love all of this.
Yeah. Katie and Alicia both said that Nicole is 35 too,
Yeah,
which
that's
that one blows my fucking mind.
it's absolutely unfair.
Mhm.
Nicola, when are we hanging out?
Yes. Quit
Also,
quit being
they
perfect.
they needed to put those curls just there. because she has like a 12 head. Like, see this?
She's got a little, she's got a little ridge,
yeah,
and the wig should be a little below the ridge, a little below it.
right there.
Yeah. It drove me crazy.
She just needs those ringlets. All they needed to do was just tease them down a little. It bothered me a lot. Thanks.
But I really truly believe that they're doing that to her now so that in the upcoming season, she gets loose and ladylike. You know, she gets her hair gets a little bit more loose, a little bit more sexy, and she becomes like prettier in terms of like what they're expecting for the, you know. You know what I'm
Dot,
saying?
listen, I do know what you're saying, but I'm looking at Dot's comment, maybe because she's a vegan. Don't, because I do not have the willpower to be a vegan. I can never be a vegan.
No.
And I'm sorry, but I guess we're going to see all these wrinkles and the ridge this jowly.
Like the jowls, like
yeah,
it's gonna just stick right where it is. I'm gonna be like this. This is how it is.
Can't do it.
No.
Can't be a vegan.
No, I can barely go low carb. I tried.
I can't go low carb. Have you seen my ass? No.
I just tried just yesterday. I was trying to like not eat carbs. And around 8:30, I had 8 toasted ravioli.
Congratulations.
Granted, they were cheese and spinach ones. They were not meat ones. But still.
And a vegetable in there.
Oh my God. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. All right. So let's get into Anthony's story because
you didn't care about Hyacinth and Gregory. They're nice. They're there.
I already said Gregory is there and Hyacinth is perfect. She's getting too many lines, but she is my favorite of the Bridgerton sisters. In the books, in the show, Eloise has the best like life.
Yes.
In fact, we didn't talk about Eloise long enough. So let's talk about Eloise.
Okay.
Claudia Jessie is so good. She is gold from start to finish. And it was like this in last season, but her takes are nearly flawless. She does this thing where I don't know if it's the editor or not, but she'll be in like a wonky position with her shoulder. And then it will cut to the next take from the other position. And she will still be in that position. Nobody else does this well.
Yeah.
Not a single other actor does it right.
That kind of continuity is very difficult.
Right. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. This character has such potential to be so annoying. And she is not annoying.
Right.
She's not. She's very good.
So she's thing where it's like the character itself is like sporadic and janky and all of this stuff. But Claudia Jessie as the actress is so specific and in control of her body that it is fascinating to watch. And I've read other people be like, Eloise bothers me. She's kind of annoying. And I'm like, how could you possibly not be riveted by what Claudia Jessie is doing? Like her physicality is just, I mean, it's so good. It's really, really good. If you want a picture of it, when she and Penn are in the market and she does the Wollstonecraft quote, watch the take switch and watch the the camera switch where it goes from where they're behind them to where they're in front of them, and watch her body. And she's super good. I'm fascinated.
I don't like the way they style her, but
see, I really like it.
Oh, do you? I hate it.
Yeah.
Put your hair up. Like, I hate the hair down all the time. It bothers me a lot. Like, I'm like, can you just tie it in a knot or something? I get it that she's like very tomboyish and whatever, but like nobody would have worn their hair down like that. And it's not even long. I don't get it. I don't get what they do with her hair. I can forgive the high necks and the long sleeves. Like, that's a thing. That's fine. It's the hair that just drives me to insanity.
The only time it really bothers me is when her bangs are really like waist, like on her face, and she's just got like a little clip or something, and she's got beachy waves, and I'm like, she's very modern.
What? It's too much. I don't like it. The clips and I don't get it. I'm like, you know what?
It's very pretty, right? Like it's a pretty look, but it's not at all like time appropriate. And I can't figure out like why. I mean, I think they want her to be modern and to have modern sensibilities. And that's one of the ways that they show it. But it is weird.
No, that's not
It's
the way
weird.
I want her to be. She's already modern. Even if everybody else has these elaborate coiffs and she just tucks it up with a couple of pins or
Mhm.
takes a freaking anything, a comb, and you see her kind of go, oh, and then someone says, Eloise, that's what you're doing with your hair. And she's like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I buy
Mhm.
that. I
Mhm.
don't buy this like bobbed, I
Yeah.
don't even
She's
know.
got a lob that she's doing
Yes,
beachy ways with. Yeah.
it's ridiculous already.
Meredith said she moves kind of unlike anyone I've seen in historical drama. And I think so too. And what it reminded me of is just like, they're fucking people, you know? Like, yes, they have these weird roles and their society is very fantastical and then it's very different than ours. But at the same time, like, what if you just were like a jerky neurodivergent lesbian daughter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would move a little Meg Ryan-y, you know? She looks a little like Brittany Murphy / Meg Ryan and like the way she moves her body. And like, it makes sense. I love it. Um, but yeah, people are agreeing with you. Alicia says yes, she hates her styling. Um, Katie said her bangs are mashed to her forehead. They are sometimes. Brett said, I can't imagine that her lady's maid would allow Eloise out with her hair down.
Nope.
Yeah. And B does not like her twitchiness. Well, then you should watch what I'm talking about and appreciate Claudia Jesse's craft. And maybe you won't hate it as much. And Alicia said, I love just how truly awful her dancing is. She really nailed that part. Yeah, like that could be really just bad in that it'd be like Gilded Age bad, where their dancing is bad and they're stepping on one another because they didn't practice enough because that show's production value sucks. But it's not that. It's that Claudia Jesse's like great at showing that it's hard
Beth,
to dance.
Beth, they filmed The Gilded Age 10 minutes from my house. I will be applying to be an extra on the
Please
next
do.
season. I'm
Please
doing
do.
it. I might be a little too big, although I know I'm the size of what's her name, the girl who has my career, Mrs. Fish.
Oh.
I joke around because every time I see her in something, I'm like, bitch has my career because like
Oh.
I don't act anymore because obviously I'm a teacher and that is what my career is. But when we are like the same age, we
Mm.
are the same size, the same type. I'm like, we are the same person. So every time I see her, I'm like, must be in this show. I will be applying. I'll let you all
Do
know how it
it.
goes. Yes, it's gonna be great.
Amy might apply in the next season for the Newport stuff when they do that because they're doing it on like the tennis court. I don't know.
It's so good. Oh my god.
Yeah,
If Amy and I were both in the Gilded Age,
it would be great.
it would be hilarious. I
It
love
would
it.
be really good. Another thing about Eloise is that, like, I really think that if you didn't know that this season was about Anthony and Kate, you could potentially think it's about Eloise because she's practically a leading lady in this episode. We get like her full internal life.
Mhm.
She gives us a bunch of speeches. She has a whole world surrounding like how she feels about who she is in this world, and like the whole thing about like not living up to Daphne. And that scene is so great, and like what she needs. We get more of what Eloise needs and wants than we do of Kate, to be
Yes.
honest, in this episode at the very least. She almost feels like the real lead.
Yeah.
Which is funny because then Benedict says, "What if what if she's named the Diamond Antony, then who are you going to marry?" And I'm like, it's not that far off in terms of what they've given them to like written. And Ra just said she signed up to be an extra for the Gilded Age.
Rod,
Y'all can meet each other.
do you live in New York? Tell me.
I
Type it
guess
in the
so.
chat.
I guess so.
Or Newport.
And Alicia said it would give her a reason to watch the second season.
Uh this
Oh,
is
it's
Rachel.
Rachel.
But do you live in New York? I don't actually know you, Rachel.
Rachel lives near Boston, so she's talking about
Oh.
like probably the Newport scenes. But Rachel's
Oh,
been an extra in a ton of stuff, like
amazing.
in game and like all kinds of stuff. I thought you were working tonight, Rachel. You told me you were working. Do your patients not need help? Is that what you're telling me? But hi, I'm like calling you Raw. Tell me who you
I
are
was
next
calling
time.
her Raw too. Like,
Tell me who you are next time. I feel so stupid. Okay.
you have to cut that out of the podcast. That was That was a veer.
And now I'll leave it in. So Anthony's story. This episode sets up very well everything we could possibly want to know about Anthony Bridgerton and the fact that this man, A, is super hot, but B, is the lead of this entire season, and that I love him.
There is not one moment that Johnny Bailey is not doing something exceptional with his face. I mean, exceptional. Every single, I could have screenshot this 8,000 freaking times. It was every eye twitch was intentional and spectacular. Like, I would just love to watch him work on a set to just see, like, if when they were editing this, were they like, oh, this one's great, and this one's great, and this one's great. And I cannot imagine. And I really do attribute this to the fact that he is a stage actor. He is a stage actor. And as we could see from the Gilded Age, the stage actors were better than the non-stage actors.
That's very, very true.
Other than, oh no, because Christine Baranski, also a stage actor.
Mm-hmm. Sheila said, not one frame of anything less than brilliance. I totally agree. He is perfection
When
the
he's
whole time.
when he's interviewing all the girls, what a treat. His reactions to all of them were all different.
Yes, I was about to say they were all different. He wasn't doing the same thing ever.
Yep.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Johnny Bailey. Emmy Award.
I know. I really think he needs an Emmy for this season of television.
Mhm.
I really, really fucking do. But yeah, he was beautiful in every but you know what? My husband and sorry, I'm getting drunk. We started watching season 1 last night. So we were watching the first season and we were watching episode 2 of season 1 just right before we started this. And he is so excellent then too. I realize that he's not going to all of a sudden become a good actor, but even when it's not his season and he's not super lead or whatever, he's so good in season 1. When he fights with Simon, it's like when they're doing the boxing or whatever, it's like, because she's my sister. I mean, he's just so good.
Yeah.
I just Patricia just said Anthony's greater than Simon, and bitch, you ain't wrong.
Yeah, I thought Rake was fabulous. He was wonderful.
Yeah.
I just think there's so much more that they show us there with Anthony. He's just giving such incredible face. There's not 1 second when you don't know what he's thinking. Every single freaking second. It's brilliant.
I know, it's amazing. And I love that his montage gives us that little montage right at the beginning where, he's doing all of his paperwork and he's seeing all the whores and everything. And it gives us a good glimpse of where he's been since season 1, which is just increasingly disillusioned with his whole life. He's gone from having a mistress that he loves and cares about to just sleeping with whores.
Mhm.
He's gone from telling Simon that family is the most important thing to having so much work and so much going on that he's overwhelmed, looking kind of for a way out of his own cycle, and seemingly anticipating the season as well. It's almost like he's been waiting for the season to start so he can find a wife so something can change. And I thought that was really, really well done. But I did want to talk about who just said it. It's back. Alicia, can we take 10 seconds to appreciate that we see him, capital R, raking it around? That's what I needed last season, not the Sienna mess. And I do want to talk about him being capital R Rake because that's the name of this episode. And I don't think we see it. I don't.
Yeah.
He's with prostitutes. He's with 3 different women. They're prostitutes because he's giving them money, but we do not see him seducing widows.
Right.
Or meeting, a married woman whose husband is out in the country and talking to her in her ear and then meeting her in her rooms. He's not raking. He's just utilizing brothels.
Yeah, I think you were supposed to infer that Rake from last season. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being a rake would have been him seducing widows, like you said, widows, married women, flirting with. But what they introduced him being determined to find a wife so early that I guess they couldn't show him doing that, with any, I don't know. You would have had to flash back through that.
Yeah, I think it would have been good, and this is, like, where I have a problem with the story, if and I guess because I'm gonna say that it's because of the romance novel trope, where you cannot see like, we saw Simon with a whore or with a woman post meeting Daphne in season 1. He's just, like, wakes up with someone, right?
Mhm.
And so we've seen Antony with these women, but it's almost like because in romance novels, you cannot see the hero sleeping with another woman once he's met the heroine, right? Especially in
Mhm.
historical romances. It just does not happen. It's just part of the romance genre that you're not going to have that feeling of, oh, how could he possibly get a boner for another person now that he's seen her face, right?
Right.
Uh, which is just the best thing ever. But you can't have that in romance. So I feel like they're doing a little bit of that with the show as well. But
Mhm.
it would have been really narratively satisfying for Kate to overhear his conversation about what he requires in a wife while also having seen him seduce some older widow in the corner.
Or if not seduce an older woman, overhear a conversation where a widow references a previous good time that they have had and try to get him back in his bed, try to get
Yes.
him back in her bed again. That would have clearly established Rake and set off mega warning bells in her head. Like if
Yeah.
if she had been like, "Oh, blah blah blah, will I see you again later?" and then like he says something to the effect of, "Well, you heard what my mother announced to everybody at this ball. You think we're gonna go like bang it out later? Like, no, that's not happening
Perfect.
anymore. Done."
Perfect. Yeah. In fact, that
Yes. Why don't
scene that
they hire
everybody's
us?
talking about's missing. Yeah, I know. That scene is what happens in the study with Sienna in the book, right? Kate
Correct.
overhears him making out with Sienna. And I talked about in the preseason Bingerton how there's the note with Sienna's name in his desk that he tells Benedict about, and how I thought
Yeah.
that was going to pop back up in this season, and then it didn't. And the idea that he's just Kate seems wholly focused on the fact that he doesn't want love and that he has this like chattel thing going on when the reality of at least with the story of the book is that he was willing to sleep around. Even after having met Edwina, having met Kate, he was still making out with women in his study. And that's what capital R Rake is about. And we do not get that. He
Mm.
he is not doing that. Even in this montage, everybody was so excited to see that he was still sleeping with people. It was not capital R raking. He was, as everybody's saying, Mandy said it, Patricia said it, Sheila said it, he's whoring around, not raking around. And it does matter. It is a huge difference in why it's problematic, you know?
Definitely.
Emily just said, "You fixed it. That would have been perfect. Good job."
We try.
Good job, us.
Can we go back to Simone Ashley because I love her too?
Yes, but we are not done with Anthony. I have more notes.
Okay, go ahead. Note it up. I can see this is going to be longer than an hour. But this is one episode, y'all. Just so you
Oh
know,
gosh.
I could do this about every single one of these damn things. Every
Let me
single
see.
one.
Let me see if I have more to say. So, I do it. You already talked about like how his face is good. So I did want to talk about like how his countenance is like when he's leaving the ball, and he just like he wants like respite, and then when his like bros call him over, he has to like turn his face away and like become the viscount, and
Hmm.
like then he can turn back to them and like have a conversation. And I thought that was perfect. He like puts on his viscount face before joining them. So yeah, you were right about all that. But that's all I really wanted to say.
She that conversation that she overhears.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? God, I had a thought about it, and now it just completely fled my head.
Alicia just asked about it. She said they do have the conversation with the boys' clubs when they say better partners, and Kate hears that, but she didn't make it a thing at all. Yeah, it's not in her clapback to him, not about
No,
like him looking for better partners.
no,
Um,
it's entirely about him just being like, I just need a woman, and anyone will do. It's fine. Like, no worries.
yeah, they have to meet these standards. And
Right.
yeah, like having standards for who's going to be your viscountess is one thing, but like having standards while agreeing that like widows and opera singers are still on the table, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it should have been part of it. So let's talk about Simone Ashley because honestly, like, I am in awe of her. I feel like there is not a woman more beautiful than her in the entire world at this point. That's how I feel about her.
That face, that perfect heart shape. I'm so jealous.
Her jawline,
Oh,
her skin, the way her hair looks so, like, lush and full and just, like, thick, and I am her like, she's all lean and, like, she's like a gazelle. I
she must
am
be so slim in real life. Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine. I'm
Her
jealous.
smile is perfect, like, her cheekbones, like, rise so high when she smiles, and she has her accent is flawless, like, the perfect hint of her Indian accent in with her, like, queen's speech or whatever is just it hits like, it scratches a part of my brain or something that just, like, hits correctly. I I don't know how she did that, like, how is her accent just, like, right? It's really right.
It's great. I mean, and not in a way that's such it's like such an homage, like not an homage, but so like really honors the culture in a the least stereotypical way
Right.
ever. Yeah, it's not a stereotype. It's great. It's
Alicia just
really
said
great.
she's an absolute goddess. I 100% agree. She was just, like, something about the way she incorporates, like, even the I'm gonna say Hindi words, but I'm not even sure that's correct, but, like, her first line is, in Hindi. Like, she curses almost when Anthony finds her on her horse, and, it's just like, the way it's incorporated is so natural and flawless, and she's just so good at it, and my favorite, favorite, favorite delivery from episode 1 is when he says, "I won't tell anyone," while they're horse riding, and she goes, "How grateful I am." Like, I just she just says, "How grateful I am." Like, it's just this
Deadpan.
every other young lady that he talks to is just like, "Bah, ba, 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 ba," like, they're just, they're little bobbleheads of politeness, and she is a female. Like, she is a woman
Mm.
who knows what she needs to say at the correct time and is not mincing words, and how grateful I am. Like, it's just I love it. It's my favorite delivery of the whole episode.
Yeah, anytime she spars with anyone, especially like that just the shade to Lady Danbury when Lady Danbury's like, "I've hired you a dancing master and I have to a French tutor and blah blah blah," and then she stands there and she was like, "Oh, and all the time when I've taught her French and she speaks Hindustani and she speaks this and Latin and Greek and she plays the sitar and the
I
uh
know.
and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Also, I'm pissed that we didn't get a chance. I Sitar is a very difficult instrument, but I would have
no doubt.
appreciated if Edwina had just done a little for us. That would have
Yeah.
been amazing. Just
Yeah, it
fake it
would've
till
been
you
cool.
make it. That would have been so cool.
I'm
Oh
guessing
well.
because they couldn't, like, afford to bring the sitar with them on their journey. I don't know.
Too
Like, I
bad. Why
can't
say she played the sitar then? They could have
I
just
don't
said
know.
she plays the harp, like
Yeah. Alicia just said, it makes, Charitha Chandran's accent more obvious to me since Simone's is so natural. Sometimes, yes, I fully agree with this.
you're
Sometimes
true about that.
yeah, sometimes Charitha's is, like, a little harsh or a little it's a bit too obvious, whereas Simone's is always just super clear and very, very satisfying.
And let's be real, like I think Simone's character, Kate, is it's such I wouldn't say easier to play, but like it is hard to make a character like that, like Edwina. So, there's less there. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? They didn't give her as much.
yeah, she's just simpering.
And
It's
and the rage that they get at the end of the season, she's much better because there's
yeah,
more there to play. It's so
yeah.
hard to play an ingenue. Like they're so annoying.
Yeah, but I do think that Simone Ashley is Kate. Like, there's nothing missing. I don't ever feel like there's something, like, missing from her performance. In the same way that Antony's, like, face says everything, I feel like her face even almost works harder than his because she has a lot less. She
Yeah.
has a lot less.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me how much less she has. Like, there's this moment where before they go to the first ball, Lady Danbury's, where she's, like, holding up the blue dress, in the mirror and she's very wistful, almost to like the point where she wishes this could be her season. But I mean, there's never any hint that she's ever going to say anything like that or feel anything like that. And Simone actually has to play that while looking into the mirror and you see it, but it's fleeting. And
Yeah.
I think that's really amazing.
They definitely should have given her we should have the fact that she is not Mary's natural daughter, the
Mhm.
fact that, the father was just a clerk and whatever, like there is definitely a lot more to mine there that we did not get.
Yeah.
I do regret it a little.
Yeah, I said it before, I said it the other night, and I think I said it already tonight, that they just did not give us enough of Kate's story. Anthony
Mhm.
gets so much. It really becomes Anthony's story, and we don't get why Kate is the way that she is. Why did we never see her in Bombay? Why did we never see their dads? Why didn't we get any of their dad? Like, I get that it's Bridgerton, and even, like, the new, like, show tie-in covers say, like, Anthony's story, Daphne's story, Benedict's story, they're telling us which Bridgerton's book it is. So that I get why that is the way that it is. But also, it's not like her backstory isn't equally rich and fully like capable of being put on screen. So
We got Simon's backstory in the last season. So I'm
yeah,
disappointed that we didn't get any of Kate's
yeah, I
backstory.
agree. Yeah, you're totally right. And even like Newton, I know this is dumb, but I didn't like Newton's introduction. I didn't like her being like, there's also Newton. Like, what the fuck? And then he comes in and he has this, like, moment with Lady Danbury, but then you don't really ever see that come to fruition. It's almost like editing-wise, they had to, like, edit some Newton shit out, and I was even, like, a little disappointed in that just because I think it does inform a little bit of her character, but it just seems like another way in which, like, Anthony is rated a little bit higher than she is in that way. One thing I noticed in this episode is she is obsessed with looking at Antony at the ball before she overhears him, but in a
Yeah.
way that is very different than how she looks at him later in the season
Uh-huh.
or every other season, like, she is intrigued and definitely, like, turned on, almost to the point where I think, like, she might be approaching him. Like, the reason she goes out those doors after him, it's not clear, but it's definitely in the subtext that she could be propositioning him. We never hear that Kate's, like, a virgin.
Yeah.
There's no sense that she doesn't know. I'm not saying that she's not, like, obviously, in the conceit of the world, she would need to be, but, like, if she's decided she's going back to India and she sees this really hot guy, like, there's just nothing really holding her back in the same
Yeah.
way. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, to me, it's definitely she definitely follows him out there. I think that that sort of because like when she meets him on the ride, I think she it's not just her setting him down. She's kind of like, oh, like this guy is giving it back to me. You know what I mean? Like there's just something about that arrogance that appeals to her. And she's like someone that I can spar with. So when she sees him, those with the way she like peeks around the plants and everything, and she's kind of like with the tilted head, kind of
Yeah.
like staring at him. She absolutely follows him out there, and
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why she gets so bent at him because she goes out there expecting him to live up to this guy that she has already set up in her mind, and then he absolutely does not. Like he disappoints her in a major way, and I think that is part of the impetus for that. Like
Yeah.
their whole relationship. It's like, no, you disappoint me, and
Yeah.
now I'm going to set you down.
Yeah, because at first, like, when they meet at the horse or whatever in the park, like, he holds her secret, he doesn't accost her, he doesn't, like, chide her for being out without a maid, like, he does have kind of the things I think that would attract her to him immediately, and then just what he says to those men ruins it, which I actually, like, re-listened to everything he said and found it less disagreeable than I think it should have been. Um
Yes, but again, like I just think that she has this idea of him that then
Mhm.
he just does not live up to.
Yeah. Emma just made a good point. She did have sex with him and then planned not to see him again after the gazebo scene. So she definitely like was headed that direction. I think.
Oh, also though, I was thinking that the fact that his what does he say? Like, what are his requirements that he says in that scene to
He
those
says
guys?
a pleasing face,
Okay,
manners befitting the viscountess.
okay, which she
Um,
doesn't necessarily have.
right.
Does he ever say anything about her breeding or her station or her whatever?
He
Because I
says
was
breeding because he talks about like my children. If she's going to be the mother of my children or whatever, like she has to have this, this, and this.
because I was thinking that it's possible that she was like, maybe I could have a season, like maybe this could be the guy that I end up with, but
Right,
I do
right.
think that her lower status as a not Mary's daughter, like not in any way nobility, maybe puts her like sets her back and it's like, well, he wouldn't go for me. Oh, the
Mhm.
breeding hips.
Yeah.
You're right. That is kind of shitty. Breeding
Mhm.
hips.
Yeah.
Locker room talk. Oh, good.
Yeah. It's not fun. It's not good. But yeah, I think that that's what I think too, is that she was looking at him like potential. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not here looking for a husband, but maybe I could potentially like find one anyway and
yeah,
or at least have a good time before I head back to India. And
yeah.
he ruins it. He ruins it.
Ooh.
Um, but
I
yeah, I
also
do
like
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I also
No, go
like the
ahead.
way they dress her. So in private, in the first couple episodes, right? I noticed this just today. In private, she's wearing those bright, bold colors, right?
Mhm.
So then she goes to those first two balls, and despite saying that she's not there to find a husband or whatever, they dress her like a debutante in those light, pale colors. Like in the Queen's Ball, especially, she's wearing a peach, that very light color. And in the
Yeah.
that first ball, that pale blue with that
Mhm.
beautiful paisley pattern, gorge.
Mhm.
After Anthony disappoints her, immediately after, she does not wear pastels again. It's bright colors from here on out. And I just
Yeah.
think that that's her being like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm not a debutante. I'm not going to find a husband.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm wearing what I want.
And I think too that they're definitely telling different stories and constant stories with the color palettes and what everybody's wearing. Like in the horse race scene at the very beginning where she and Anthony first meet, they're both wearing teal. Like, just the idea that both of them went out wearing the same color, wanting the same thing, without ever having met, and then the first time you know what I mean? Like, there's a story there for that, and then she continues to wear teal throughout the rest of that day, and then when that first ball that she goes to, she's wearing a pale blue, which is a Bridgerton color,
Mhm.
right? And then, she moves on to a pale lavender, which is, like, mixing her Sharma color, which is, like, pinks and purples with a Bridgerton color, and so, I mean, there's definitely, like, a full color story going on as well as, like, her and Edwina's clothes have like very Indian influences to them as well. There's so much going on with the costumes that I am in no way qualified to talk about, but it's certainly something that I think is visually stimulating and obvious if you
Mhm.
think about it for any length of time. One thing I did notice that bothered me in the first episode is when she tells Lady Danbury that she and Edwina are leaving, she was like, "We are wholly unprepared for what's happening here, and you did not prepare us well. We're out." And I feel like there must be a scene missing. Like,
Yeah.
it felt out of place, for her to get that upset, and I can't figure out why, because Antony hasn't approached Edwina at that point. Edwina has not had a bad experience yet. And the thing with Antony wasn't bad enough for her to just be like, "We're out." I feel like there's something missing. I don't know, but I also get irritated that Mary, who was a part of that world and grew up in it, hadn't prepared them.
Yeah, that's weird. Mary was super useless this
Yeah, I know,
whole
yeah.
season. They and not only that, they set up her story to be intriguing and good, and she really could have had an impact. First of all, you guys were right on Sunday. The fact that she did not know about that deal is preposterous. Like,
Yes.
what? That makes absolutely no sense. You tell the rando daughter that is not in any way related to them. I don't understand. That's
It
number
doesn't
one.
make any sense for Lady Danbury to approach Kate about it. Like, why is she not talking to Mary?
Yeah.
And one line about Kate intercepting like uh correspondence to her father because it came like right before he died or right after he died and she didn't want Mary to have to see it. Anything.
Yep. It made no
And
sense.
she makes it seem when she talks to Lady Danbury that she and Mary both knew. They were both raising Edwina in this way. But
Right.
you never get the sense in the way that everything plays out that Mary is in on it other
Yeah.
than that.
And then the rest of the town like talk down to Mary,
Right.
like they treat her like shit.
Yeah.
And and Mary's just like, I'm
Mhm.
sad. The queen takes a shot at Mary, and Mary's still like, oh, that was hard. Oh, fan myself. Thank God you're here,
Yeah.
Lady Danbury. I'm like, I don't understand. That it was a wasted character to me. She might as well be wallpaper.
Yeah, like, it's only informing the Sheffield portion of Kate's betrayal. Like, that's the only reason Mary gets treated like that, is to better inform Kate's betrayal about the Sheffields. It doesn't do anything to Mary, and Edwina should be equally upset with her mother at that point. The whole thing is very odd, and Alicia just said Mary never planned to go back to England. It makes 0 sense how Kate got her there. Yeah, like Mary has to know what's going on. What was Kate's plan to break the news about the inheritance if it went to plan? I don't think she was ever going to break the news. I think that the Sheffield, she wanted her to make a good match and then the Sheffields to come forward and say, we're going to give you this dowry. We're going to take care of y'all post her making the match. And Kate act like she'd had no idea that, that was going to be a thing and then leave. As
Sure.
if Edwina if that had worked, as if Edwina would have let her just go and be destitute in India.
Yeah.
Um, Alicia said, "I saw that clip of Mary with the Queen prior to the season coming out and was so disappointed that it didn't become more. I really thought we were getting a good plot line." I agree. I thought there was gonna be really, like, a lot more going on with that. Um, and yeah, it's pretty shitty that it wasn't there. But I really am like, that whole "we're wholly unprepared for tonight," that made absolutely no sense with regard to the fact that Mary should have prepared them. Totally insane.
Yeah. It was weird.
Back to Anthony and Kate. This episode, we get their meeting in the park, which I thought was so great because it's like their first meeting is a competition that she doesn't really know about. But she's egging on. I think she looks beautiful. They're both wearing the same color. Then like he's so impressed with her because she's so different than what he's used to, and it's just like totally adorable. But that was the one point where I thought he looked like a rake because when he says, "Oh, you're not married," it almost looks like he's about to just be like, "So you want to do this thing?" You know what I mean? Like, "Oh, or he says you are married, like you don't have a maid, you are married." So he's like, "Oh, if she's married, maybe I can get her up against a tree. I'm
Rock
used to
this
being
game.
up against a tree. Like I can handle being up against a tree."
That was good.
But then their conversation that we saw, like, it's one of the first things we ever saw, right? Their little conversation by the plant where he's like, "Oh, you know." And she's like, "Yeah, your character is deficient as your horsemanship." Um, I love Anthony's face. I want to say Anthony Bailey. Jonathan Bailey's face when he realizes it's like the first time he's not had the upper hand in a conversation. We've seen him have all these conversations with young ladies, and it's the first time he hasn't had the upper hand. He hasn't come out like deciding what he thinks. And I love that he's just like blasted by it. Has no idea what to think. Look at your kitty.
He's so cute. Hi, Vader. He likes to climb on the computer, so
Vader, that's adorable.
he's Black Cat,
Yeah.
so
But yeah,
ah
that's my like that scene is my favorite because it's the quintessential like Anthony getting bowled over by Kate, just like not being at all what he expects.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
face again, the
Again.
faces,
Yeah.
and how much she enjoys it is just perfect.
Like she enjoys setting him down for sure.
Mhm.
And finally, when Edwina gets like announced as the diamond and they dance, and Kate sweeps her away, and he tells his mother, "She's who I shall marry." His eye line is meeting Kate's eye line. He is not meeting Edwina's eye line. It is meeting Kate's. I loved it. I lived it. So good.
It does make me wonder. I mean, other than the fact that she's slightly like a bit of a harridan, like, I mean, I don't know.
Why
Sometimes,
not go for her?
yeah, just why not go for her?
I think because he's already told his friends, his brother, his mother, "I'm just gonna marry whoever the diamond is."
Mhm.
And he showed the entire ton, after the queen names her, he's willing to dance with her right away. He's just like, "This is gonna be the easiest thing." And yeah, and then, like, we know within the second episode that their tension just ratchets up so much higher that he can't possibly think of marrying her because she hates him so much. So I think it would have been more like understandable or doable if they hadn't had that conversation in the, on the porch or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make sense why he isn't just like, well, I'm going to go for this one because she's obviously the one I have the hots for. But
Because then there'd be no show, Beth. Then we wouldn't get 8 episodes of delicious tension.
that's true. Very, very
Although
true.
it should be 7 episodes of delicious tension and 1 episode of 15 minutes of tension with 45 minutes of a little post climax action for me because I really needed a little more HEA with my 2 leads.
Mm, I
Thank
could
you for
see
coming.
that. I know everybody wants it. I think that it's fine. I think we're going to get so much of them in future seasons. It's going to
I
be
hope
okay.
so. There better be more.
Yeah,
I better see Jonathan Bailey naked in a few more seasons.
I think you will. Emma had a great point. Is Kate's speech about being wholly unprepared perhaps more about being unprepared to deal with her feelings for Anthony than anything she encountered at the ball itself? Perhaps. I like that idea. I wish the continuity had been there. Like, I wish
Yeah.
we'd seen her flustered. She walks away from that pretty confident, not upset, you know?
Also, everybody else set me down. You guys are right. He doesn't go after Kate because he doesn't want love.
Yeah, very true. Doesn't want to have the hots for his wife.
Yep.
Yep. Yep, 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 yep. So other things I thought that hit me were the fact that the Featheringtons and everybody seems to have so many jewels, just tiaras and giant necklaces. And I realized that we're in like a heightened world. But if they were really that worried, why would Miss Featherington want to sell Penelope's books when she has a different matching tiara, necklace, earring set for every ball?
Because she doesn't care about the books.
I mean, but like, are those things supposed to be paste? Because they're huge. Everybody's wearing giant amethysts and emeralds and topaz. And unless they are meant to be paste, like how they are later on with Featherington's rubies, they are all billionaires in jewels. And it's ridiculous.
Yes.
That bothered me. Also, when I was watching this with Amy over the weekend, she kept calling Lord Featherington Michael Sarah, British Michael Sarah.
Oh, that sent me. Thank
And
you.
I cannot see him as anything else. So British Michael Cera
That
it is.
that was an awfully lot of time spent on a subplot that I did not care about very much.
I like it. It doesn't bother me.
I
Again,
mean,
it's a whole world. Would I want more Kate in her life?
yes,
Yes. Do I want to see Benedict in a threesome with a dude? Yes.
yes,
But did I enjoy Lady Featherington plotting all of this stuff and Lord Featherington even like trying to get her in bed and all that stuff to yes, I did.
I did like the twist at the very end when she was
Yeah.
like, "Ah, no."
Yeah.
But that was the only part of it I really liked. I could have done with a lot less of it.
I liked it. I was into it. I was into it. Anyway, that's it. Episode 1. You guys. Emma just said, I wish they would have established more about why he was so rushed to get married now, i.e., his fear of early death, and why he didn't want to love his future wife. I think they established that fairly well in season 1, that he is like very intent on his duty to his family. His mom is like, "You're not doing it. You're not hitting it," and he's like, "Okay, I'll do this." and then he loses somebody that he thinks he could love, and recognizing that he cannot, one, love because he might lose it, and two, he has to do the duty of his family. I think it's well established. Maybe not in this first episode, but it's established later on in the season, I think, pretty well. I don't really like that my dad died at 38. I can't be older than 38. I didn't like
I
that in the
don't.
book either.
I have to tell you, that is a thing. That is a dude thing.
I know it's a dude thing. Like
Yeah.
fully, if you go back and watch our old Bridgerton book
Yeah,
club,
I was
yeah,
on that
from
episode, I
the
think.
Viscount Who Loved Me, like Karen is like, guys, this isn't a thing. I don't like this. And I was like, no, it's a thing. Like my dad says it, like my husband says it, like I feel like all men think that they aren't going to outlive their dads for
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
reason.
my dad's birthday, where he turned like a year older than his dad was when he died. My dad was like, "I'm on borrowed time." And I was like, "What?"
I know. It's
Yeah.
so weird. But yeah, I think they all feel that way. Um, and especially Anthony, because he like horrifically saw his dad die or whatever. So yeah, Brett just said my brother says it too. Ooh, Mandy, I love this comment. Mandy, Beth, Shonda Rhimes is just like you. She said the sex scenes make her blush, and she said she wouldn't be able to watch it with her mother or her sister. I'm glad to know that Shonda Rhimes is with me on my prudery. They have to be they have to be important.
Yeah.
They have to be or like almost comic relief. Like Anthony's first scene ever being introduced like with Sienna up against the tree, like that doesn't bother me in any way. Like I'm perfectly fine with like a quick little fucking against a tree, right? Um, but like long, heavy love scenes, I'm like, "Bleh," too much. So, anywho, Rachel just said, life doesn't end at 40. Thank God. Thank God.
I yeah, things would be bad for me if life ended at 40. So,
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeedy. Anyway, you guys, we will do this again for all of the episodes, hopefully. I mean, I don't know how long it'll take us, but I'm still excited about Bridgerton. So as long as I'm excited about it, we will be here discussing it. And if any of you would like to join, you think that you'd be happy to be FaceTiming with us, let me know. Send me an email at beth@thecooltable.com. And yeah, we'll throw you up here for a minute or two. Anyway, good night. Thank you guys. We will see you soon. Appreciate you guys being here. The chat's been awesome. I love you
yeah.
all.
Yes, the
Good night.
chat
Good
was
night.
so good tonight, guys. You're amazing.
Yes, episode 2 coming soon. Love you guys. Bye.